and it's not too wordy. But so just to start out, one of the problems I have sometimes with fantasy or heavy sci-fi is like I'm really bad with names, like in real life and when I'm reading stuff. So a lot of times I'll like scan over names, and when stuff is really name heavy, then sometimes I miss stuff, or like I like it when like the dogs are called like Mr. Dog and like Mr. Wolf, even though it's pretty like generic and kind of like goofy, but it's like, it's really helpful for me. But what's nice is like all these characters, they look so different that I don't really have to use the names so much. But like when they mention like names of gods or names of spells or names of places and cities, I just say, oh, I hope that doesn't matter so much.
Yeah, because he does go through a lot. James said it wasn't very word heavy, but there is quite a bit of just text here that sort of lets you into the joke, into the world.
Yeah, and maybe it was just like at the beginning I thought that, and like definitely as you go further in there, it gets a lot wordier. But yeah, it'll be like the sweet fruit for Dilladai, goddess of health, and the the dance to Pidosh, god of commerce. And,
the Pidosh dance. And it shows the little silhouette of them dancing. I thought it was adorable. But so our main character, whose name is Dunstan,
mm-hmm.
Dunstan is actually excited about this particular day because his father, who is a high a trade master, he's the trade master for the Seventh City. And do we find out? Yeah. So actually, before this morning ritual of Dunstan, there is a full paragraph and a watercolor picture of the Seventh City, and I kind of like each chapter starts with this paragraph letting you know what's going on in the world of this of this particular Seventh City, and I like that. Did you read? You had to have read that paragraph.
Yeah. So this is something that we've seen in a couple different comics, and some do it really well, and some not as well. Like it can be like overwhelming. How much text, like sometimes they'll do like a full double page and the whole thing is text that you have to read. And this is just like 3 or 4 paragraphs, like kind of not even a full page or, a quarter of a page maybe. But, I didn't really learn very much from it.
Just that there's big doings, this Seventh City.
Yeah, big doings, exactly.
Big doings. This Seventh City, other cities are will be getting together for like a big, I don't know, like a summit.
Yeah, the summit. That's a good way. And magic is in the air.
Magic is all. Like I said, this book is just all about the magic, and we don't see this immediately, but the Seventh City is a floating city.
Yeah, it is. And in this image, like it all, like at first glance, you hardly even notice that it's like floating above these mountains. Like it almost looks like it's part of them. But look, I mean, this is a page that you look at more closely because it's one of the better art pages, and it's distinct from the art in the other pages. That's maybe a little more cartoony style, and this is more watercolory.
Right, and they do that with each chapter, like I said. So Dunstan is on his way to accompany his dad on a trading
to do some trading, and they're going to trade with these buffalo or bison or whatever they call them.
Yeah, so the buffalo
and they're
people
pretty like tough, mean-looking characters with like scars on their face and like big leather belts and these spear. I don't know what the weapon is called, but they got some weapons on them. They look like tough characters.
They look like tough characters, but they have to travel down.
Mm-hmm.
They leave the Seventh Floating City and drive these like crazy boat machines down to their level, and there's a dispute with one of these guys, and these are lowly people, but they're trading magic. What is magic?
And so one of like not knowing what the limits of magic are, like that's one of the things that's like kind of crucial is like how you discover the limitations or like what it is. And so at this point, you pretty much don't know anything other than it's like crystals and you trade it. But this is really, I thought this was maybe my favorite scene was, so he trades with these buffalo guys, and the buffaloes seem like way more intimidating than him. Like you would think that he would like cower before them. But then they're kind of barter back and forth, and he's like, he pays them way less than what they thought he should pay him. And they argue with him, and instead he just like, he's like, this was the promised amount, and then he kills one of them, like with magic, I guess.
Well, he doesn't kill him. He looks like he's going to be dead, though, because when you see the
like
inside...
you see the skeleton.
Yeah, when you see the inside of like, an electrified, like, Scooby-Doo style, you assume that person is dead, or that Minotaur is dead. But that Minotaur is not dead, but instead...
He just has, like, smoke coming off of him, and he has to be carried out.
Yeah.
And you don't see him talk again, so maybe I thought he was dead and they were just carrying him away.
Oh,
but now that you mention it, yeah, he's just like not doing so good.
You couldn't throw away a character. You couldn't kill him. You couldn't kill Boba Fett on the first page. Look how cool that guy is. He's called Seven Scars, and he's got 7 scars across his face. Yeah. He is the badass bison dude. So
yeah, and even the page where he's introduced is probably my favorite art page of the
yeah,
book.
That's a great panel.
Yeah. Great panel.
The design in this whole book is gorgeous all the way around. Like the costumes, like this would be like a crazy costume movie.
Costumes is good. Yeah. Although I didn't really like the costume of the dad. I don't know. Maybe it was just a personal preference, but I don't know. It wasn't as animal-y. It was very like king regal.
Yeah, he's very regal
style.
Well, he's the trade master.
Yeah, I guess.
So he did that whole blasting
thing to like show off to his son, like this is how we do things.
This is a lesson. If you let these bison people get up on us with their magic, more magic than we're willing to give them, the tides can turn, and we need all the magic we could get because, as we learn, this summit is coming to be, and the summit is all about how magic is fading, and we're going to have to do something. Times are changing.
Yeah, we need to optimize our magic. But it did seem to me like the dogs were, the pit bull guys were like kind of underhanded in this dealing. Like they were in the wrong to like underpay, but like it was just what they had to do.
I thought that I didn't think that was the case. I thought this was a straightforward, like a pretty straightforward. This was the price we agreed upon. And his dad
they said
that,
but then it was like, but we gave you 3 times more than what we had agreed upon.
Oh, right. So yeah, I guess like his dad is kind of a jerk.
Yeah, but I kind of liked that. It's like, okay, these guys, because that's what he's shown is like, okay, this magic has become more valuable. So like, even like we can't give them more just because they give us more. Like, we got to hold on to what magic we can. But yeah, so then we go to this, there's like a big like meeting room, and there's a lot of like introduction of names, and they talk very like eloquently, but like it didn't seem like a lot was happening, like a lot of just like words were being said.
Right.
Where it's like, we talk of many refinements to Valdul's illuminations or tricks to the lesser rune of the lengthy sustenance of more efficiency, and but then it'll say something big. It's like magic is failing, and it's like, oh, I hope all those other words were just saying that same thing.
Right, magic is failing, and this warthog, who is a higher up as well, makes that statement, makes the claim that magic is failing. I have come up with a great idea. If we pool our magic together, we can summon, and this was the big. Like, this is a big plot point turn. We can summon the great champion.
Yeah.
I read it about it in a book somewhere.
And when they talk about him, he's in this really cool, like, green art thing, and you don't really see his face, but It's cool. It's cool looking.
Yeah.
You know, he definitely has a champion like aura to him. But then everyone's like, "Oh, it can't be done," you know, and then they're like, "But we've got to try."
Everybody at this great table are naysayers. Nobody wants to jump on board with this. What are those warthogs? What is she?
Yeah, I think a warthog.
Yeah, so she's like a big tusky warthog person, and then first in council Talon,
Yeah,
who
he's
is
like
an
an eagle. Yeah,
comes in
and he's got like a bunch of different gems, crystals on him.
Yeah, he's a cool looking costumes. Look at his hands. See, like he's got bird feathers.
Now that you mention it, it's really good.
But they're hands. But he comes in and he is the council. He is the council, and he puts the kibosh to this. I won't have any more talk about this garbage about summoning this champion who's going to help us keep our cities afloat with magic. We're just going to have to ration, and that's going to be that. And he doesn't have the answers.
Yeah, we're going to like slowly trickle away, and we need to make a big move. But like, I think it's important, like the kind of I think the way we're explaining it is way more clear than like when I was reading it. Like there was a lot of reading where it's like, they would have allowed it long since. Nay, they would have guided our hands, but they have not. To essay this is blasphemy. It is forbidden. Talon, the gods have not spoken for 257 years. They cannot have forbidden any. And like this kind of dialogue, like I'm sure some people really like it, but for me, it's like, get to the, you know, there's a lot of words going on here.
It slows it down, but it also like speeds it up a little bit. Like so, like the word bubbles.
But it's like, okay, is 257 years important? You know, is it like the time of magic, Gartha the Seeker? Do I need to remember that name?
I don't know. I think the broad strokes really kind of get you there. I mean, when the action happens, oh my goodness, like you see. So this is probably
but then
like
all
the
of a sudden
boring...
he like screeches and says it is forbidden, and you're like, all right, I get it.
I get it. But there's lots of whispering in the back channels. There's some chatter, and so what happens next, James? So like, there's back chatter. Lots of people are like, maybe we can do it.
Harumph.
Yeah,
and then it's like, we got this thing set up. We need everybody. Or like we need like 14 people to work together, and we go to the most remote of the 17 cities, and they have like a staging area, and the staging area looks pretty cool.
Look at that frog.
Yeah.
Yeah, the staging area is really cool.
And it's like never before constructed to this size, and you know that's the pattern of Lang, and you know we need a melding environment that can combine and harmonize all the spells. And it's like, okay, it's going to be tough, and we all got to work together. And then they do, and doesn't quite work so well.
Nope, it's a crash, boom, bang, and this is also one of the things that I like about this, but at the same time, you kind of have to like, I mean, like, we're breathing right now. We're inhaling and exhaling, and we're keeping our bodies lifted. Is that what magic does to the city? Are all the people in this world using magic and keeping the city like the city stays
like floating?
Floating with magic. Yeah,
that's a good point, Larry. Yeah, we still have no idea what magic does, other than like it kind of electrified this bison guy, and you can use it to turn on a lamp. And like the city is floating. And the city is floating. And you can use this magic to summon this thing, but maybe not. And they don't have much luck with this because rather than getting the city, or rather than summoning the champion to help them with their energy problems, let's say, they crunch-a-muncha their city. And it goes down. And this gets pretty gory, actually. There's some gore. Yeah, and it's kind of interesting how they change the colors. Like, all of a sudden, it's all rainbowy. Like
Oh, yeah.
the light that comes out of it, it's like